that was good to get out. Okay. Welcome back. So this video and the ones that follow are probably going to be a little bit more upbeat than the context video was, which I think was a necessity for the context video to be a little more solemn and subdued, because the information there was a little more heavy and needed to be taken a little more seriously. But the rest of these are just going to be filled with my passion for tarot, and so let's dive right into it. I'm very excited. We'll start by showing you the card. Today we are talking about the Fool, and the reason I show you this card is because Sallie Nichols exclusively uses the Marseille deck for this book as the baseline understanding. And being taught with the Waite-Smith deck, it's completely different imagery, which is fascinating to see how there are some similarities and some differences in the interpretation based simply on the way that the images are. And that's honestly one of the reasons I love tarot so much, is because the pictures are pretty. Which is not academic of me to say at all, but is true. So I will show you the card at the beginning, and then I'll give you sort of my interpretation of what the main point of the chapter was, which, for the Fool, Sallie Nichols paints the Fool as a fully intuitive and natural existence, similar to living as a child, in both the childish and childlike interpretations. Which, mainly, this chapter is very in line with what I understand the Fool to be, which is that the Fool stands a little removed from the rest of the cards as a vessel or a representation of everybody, instead of the rest of the major arcana, which are all archetypes, whether those are personality archetypes or experiential archetypes. And the idea is that the Fool passes through all of those experiences and becomes all of those personalities, and not necessarily like 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 in a linear fashion, but bounces between all of them because life is chaos. And so the main difference that I get from this chapter is that Sallie Nichols puts forth the Fool as a sort of impulsive and unconscious being who lives both in that like absolutely delightful state of wonder and joy and exploration that very young children have, which is the childlike to me, as opposed to the childish, which is also in Sallie Nichols' interpretation of the Fool, which is more about that self-centeredness and sort of like ignorance, because the lack of experience that children have because they're young and they haven't experienced it yet. So generally I would also then talk about like a very important thing. I have starred particular passages in the rest of the chapters because they were something I felt passionate enough to write like a big annotation about, or it was a significant divergence from how I understood the card from my learning. But I don't have anything like that for the Fool, which sort of makes sense, I think. So I will see you in the next one where we talk about the Magician. Okay, love you, bye!